It's the last night of Axbridge Community Theatre's production of William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, directed by John Bailey. It's been a roller coaster of a week, with the sudden illness of the production manager John Kendall and the cancellation of the second night's performance. But like all true dramas, it was a case of the show must go on. What I'm going to ask you is, did you enjoy the production?
Enormously.
What was the most attractive thing for you?
Well, I think that there were, to my mind, there were two outstanding performances by Malvolio and by Viola, call it that. And I thought that she in particular managed to bring out all the curious ambiguities of cross-dressing so sensitively that it made it a real pleasure to watch.
And costumes?
Oh, well, they were a surprise, actually. They're very bright and very enjoyable.
And the colour scheme, there's a lot of bright colours there, turquoises.
Yes, and they went with the comedy scheme.
Chris Jarman, how do you feel his portrayal of Malvolio is going?
Chris is doing a really excellent job. I was just laughing all the time. Some of his mannerisms are absolutely spot on. And his delivery of lines also spot on. Very well done.
Do you feel he looks like he's constantly constipated?
Yes, yes. Very good way of putting it, yes.
The cast have been in rehearsals for weeks under the direction of John Bailey, who chose the play for the autumn production 2015.
So there's a moment where you just stood still there, and first day's attending.
Why Twelfth Night?
Why Twelfth Night? Because it is a play full of energy, full of fun, full of love, but most importantly, it hasn't got one or two single stars. It's a thing which gave opportunities for many people to play prominent roles, and that's exactly what's happened here, and they've responded to it and run with it really very well.
Did you see Dick Surgeon stop?
Oh, he's drunk, Sir Toby, an hour ago. His eyes were set at 8 in the morning.
Then he's a rogue and a passive measures paying. I ain't a drunken rogue.
Away with him! Who hath made this havoc with them?
I'll help you, Sir Toby, because we'll be dressed together. Will you help me? An asshead, and a coxcomb, and a knave, a thin-faced knave, a gull.
Get him to bed.
Okay,
But it's not just about the acting. There's the design as well, as Wendy Mace explains.
And the idea of the pageantry. I came up with the idea of carnival, Mardi Gras, masquerade, harlequinade type thing, as a kind of general focus, because I know that John didn't want to have a formal period costume for it, and so it's colour and light.
And there's the music at the core of the play, as Anna Hind explains.
I have been working with Stella, who is the lead of one of the choirs in Axbridge, to compose music and also go through pieces of music that we've researched on the internet to create a musical soundtrack really for the play, so that we have melancholic tunes to match the themes and also more upbeat tunes. And with the music that Stella's composed, we've been able to pull that apart into pieces that match different characters as well. So we have the traditional songs that are part of the play, as well as having live music in between the acts, instead of having recorded music in between the acts. And we've used classical instruments.
And there's a small matter of the set, as David Parkin explains.
Very often being part of the actual constructing, so I'm a stage carpenter as well, which is great, because I've always loved the practical side of theatre. One problem here, of course, is that we've got a very awkward space, so we really have to start from scratch every time, borrowing the Fairland School staging platforms, get the basic platform up. But then the great thing about Shakespeare, of course, is you don't have to be too naturalistic, and that's lovely because the language does so much of the scenery for you, where you are and what's going on. So I suppose in one way, for this one, we're thinking of a fairly minimalist design.
Meanwhile, the rehearsals continue.
And then you do it again, and then it gets a bit more serious. Do you want me to try indifference?
Yeah.
All right, I'll try it.
Anything for a laugh.
Right, I'm Peter Hilliard, and my character is Sir Andrew Avicheek. He's a kind of rich gentleman who is a good friend of Sir Toby Belch, and Sir Toby Belch is very much taking him for a ride and using up all his available money. And Sir Andrew thinks of him as a good friend and an excellent drinking buddy, so they get up to all sorts of mischief, much to the annoyance of Lady Illyria's household and Malvolio.
Are you normally led astray by drunks, or are you? Does this play to your character?
I try not to be. Yes, I have had some experience. Yes.
And how are you getting on with the lines? There's a lot to learn.
There's a lot to learn, yes. There's a few different ways of doing it. I find learning it, having recorded it in the car, driving on my commute, things like that, are very useful in learning my lines. Also, just simple way of reading the book with a postcard over the lines, so you can hopefully you can read them off before you reveal them.
And you're married to a member of the cast, so do you do your lines together in bed?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Is it easier to play a baddie like Lady Macbeth, or a serious role like this one, or somebody who's very silly?
The baddies are fun. The silly ones are fun. This has got some really poignant moments in it about unrequited love. And it's got some straight bits, because compared to a lot of the other characters, Viola's a fairly straight character. And it's got some completely absurd bits where the confusion comes in about the twins and which is which. And Viola gets accused of doing lots of things which she hasn't done because it was Sebastian. So we did try swapping during one scene. I think Greg was away, he was playing Sebastian. So I stepped in and played him in the scene. And it completely threw everybody. They were like, but you're... And so that went really well.
It's showtime, and Liz Welch on the box office gets ready for the rush. While the bar is prepared, and behind the scenes, Dave Moore has stood in for John Kendall and concentrates on the sound, the lights and special effects. Meanwhile, backstage, the cast get ready to go into makeup.
I play Count Orsino, and believe it or not, at 46 years of age and 15 and a half stone, I'm playing the love interest. Mr. Bailey is a wonderful director, and Mrs. Bailey is an even better makeup artist. So I am initially very much a victim of unrequited love, which remains unrequited throughout the play, but then towards the end there's a sudden change in that I realise something about one of the other characters that I think was always there all along, but it only is revealed towards the end.
Ede, how do you make him look 30 years younger than he really is?
30 years younger?
Great difficulty. It's easy told, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. The bone structure's there to start with. He's just taking the wrinkles off.
Exactly.
Bob's own run. He would, he gave everybody nicknames.
So we're making up one eye very exotically.
Yeah.
Similar, comes out different every day. That's from Charmaine, isn't it?
That is me.
Something like that, but it comes out differently.
It's time for John to give a final pep talk to the cast.
Seats, because so many people wanted to come tonight but had missed it. So it's going to feel fuller than normal. That's a good thing, except it'll probably affect the acoustic. So keep the sound out there. But it's full of lovely, friendly faces out there, all rooting for you, all rooting for John. Everyone's asking how he is, and everyone very concerned about his good health. So, again, do it for John tonight. But if you haven't read the programme, then you will also see that I dedicated 12th Night, the production, to Martin Cavender, who was a great friend of mine, but he was also a great friend of this company. And I'd like you to do that. I'd like you to do it for him tonight. It was very little time ago he was performing with you. He had a massive input into Axbridge Remembers and the pageant previously, and we all have great ties with him, and it was personally a great blow for me, and I know a great blow for many of you. Seska's there tonight. She attempted to come on Thursday and of course was turned away, and so I made sure that she was here tonight, heaven and earth and all of that. But she's also presented us with a cheque for £100 tonight, which I think is a wonderful gesture and tribute. He's a great friend. He was a great friend of this company, and so is Seska. And with tears in her eyes, she said it's a tiny gesture for a company that Martin and herself thought lots of.
Curtain Up is now just moments away, but the cast can rely on this chap.
Alex Duncan, you're the prompter. What's your role tonight?
My role tonight is to do absolutely nothing, as usual, because hardly anybody ever forgets their lines, and then they thank me, but in fact it's all down to the cast.
What country, friends, is this?
This is Illyria, lady.
And what should I do in Illyria? My brother, he is in Elysia.
If music be the food of love, play on. Give me excessivity, that surfeiting the appetite may so sicken and die.
To be up after midnight and to go to bed then is early. So to go to bed after midnight is to go to bed betimes.
Methinks it is time to smile again. Oh world, how apt the poor are to be proud. If one should be a prey, how much the better.
I'll go to work another way with him. I'll have an action of battery against him, and there'll be any law in Illyria. No, I struck him first, yet it'd be no matter for that.
Be not afraid of greatness. 'Twas well read.
What meanest thou by that, Malvolio?
Some are born great, some achieve greatness,
What sayest thou?
and some have greatness thrust upon them.
Heaven restore thee!
No, Sir Andrew, there's no remedy. The gentleman will, for the sake of his honour, have one bout with you. He cannot, by the duello, avoid it, but he has promised me, as he is a soldier and a gentleman, that he will not hurt you. Therefore, on.
Oh, pray God he keep his oath. Oh!
I do assure you 'tis against my will.
Your sword! If this young gentleman have done offence, I take the fault on me. If you offend him, I for him defy you.
Why, sir, what are you?
A long while ago, the world began with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain. But that's all one, our play is done, and we'll strive to please you every day.
Pete, we've got a female fool. That's not always the case in most Shakespeare productions. How do you feel she is doing?
I think she's doing fantastically. Such a brilliant singer and fantastic character person in the middle of the stage. I think it works really well. You know she's female, but it's okay. It seems to really fit with the spirit of Shakespeare.
Well, I thought it was wonderful. I actually think that was the best thing I've ever seen act do. It was absolutely lovely. And I think the set was a very simple one, which I really, really liked. Because it has to serve for so many things. It has to serve for the town and for both the Count's palace and Olivier's, and I think it did it really well. It was very, very simple, but I thought the ability to hide behind the arches was good. So I've seen professional productions of this, which use the same sort of device. I think it works very well. You've got to be able to see them, Anthony Aguicheek and Toby Belch hiding, and so you're able to do that. It was really, really lovely.
Yeah, no, I loved it. It's brilliant. I mean, I've actually done the show myself 2 months ago, and this definitely compared. This is just brilliant. I love all of the music, and you know, everyone had really well developed characters. It worked really well.
So overall, artistically, a very strong.
Oh, definitely. From cast to performance to music to set to lights. Definitely, good show. Definitely a good show. Enjoy it.